SB, back with another vlog. So been touching all different type of subjects with me owning my first home, my job, Amazon. Today we're gonna get on the subject of a question that a few different people asked me, so I thought it'd be pretty dope to do a video about it. Got a whole lot more lined up, stay tuned. But today is renting an apartment versus owning a home. I've been in both areas now, just currently being a new home owner and seeing both sides of the spectrum, a small time frame that I've had. Just gonna give some feedback in my opinion on it. All right, so going straight into it. One of the things when you're owning your own home, one thing you don't have to worry about is your mortgage going up. It stays the same. When you buy your house, you get it at a fixed rate and it is not gonna increase 30 years. As long as you're in that home, your mortgage is not gonna increase. When it comes to an apartment, it's guaranteed your rent is gonna go up, not if, but when. So that's one thing I would say would be like the downside of an apartment, that rent's gonna go up. Especially depending on where you live, you're already feeling it. With this pandemic that's going on, rent's been going up everywhere like crazy. I'm out here in Arizona, that's what caused me to go and look to buy a house, because the rent was like, why not just pay a mortgage? And since I've been into my house, rent's already been climbing up out here still. So if you're in California, you're in New York, you're in Florida, you're in these places, you know what I'm talking about. So I think the home would win in that situation, the financial situation, but then you also have to look at the startup costs. Like, to actually purchase a home, you're gonna put way more money down than it is to rent an apartment. So I think the apartment would win on the startup amount, because you're paying a deposit fee and your first and maybe last month's rent. That's about it. When you're going to a home, you're gonna pay more than you're paying for renting an apartment. So one of the things I did notice moving into the new home, it's definitely going to be more expensive. You're basically gonna be paying for your own maintenance. If anything goes wrong, you're paying for that. I'm in a new build home, so I have about a 1-year warranty. Some things are 5 years, and there's some things for 10 years as warranty. So I haven't had to worry about any of that stuff yet, but that's something that I've already had in mind and have money set aside for, because I don't call the maintenance guy and have him come out within the next 2 days. I have to manage the maintenance guy. So in an apartment, you have your maintenance, you tell them, well, depending on what type of apartments you in, they should come in within a few days, depending on the severity of the situation, come fix the issue. So you're gonna pay more with your own when it comes to just expenses in general. Water, trash, sewer. If you're in an HOA, you're paying the HOA. But then there's extra things like, okay, security, which, cameras, all that good stuff. I'm also paying for bug spray. Haven't seen any bugs, but I don't want to see any bugs. This is Arizona. I heard there's scorpions out here. I don't want no smoke with scorpions. I'm straight. So that's one thing I did as soon as I got in the house. Got some, the bug people, made sure they sprayed. They actually just came out again yesterday for the second round. They're gonna be out again. Make sure I'm on top of that. Anyway, so different things like that can and will accumulate in your home if you're going with the home. In an apartment though, look at the flip side of that. Let's say if your apartment's clean and you take care of your thing, you're so compact in apartments. Sometimes if you have a neighbor who's just disgusting, that probably could affect your apartment. But it's way less space that you have to take care of in an apartment when it comes to those type of things. You're gonna have more expenses in a home than renting an apartment. So I think the apartment would win in that situation. Other than that, I haven't experienced any downsides on owning a home. I would say the upsides of it, way more space. Think about the biggest that you can go in an apartment and then the biggest that you can go with the house. Big difference. On top of having way more space, in an apartment, the people live right next to you. The walls, you can hear everything. Everything. Even the things you're not trying to hear, you can hear them through the walls. You feel me? That's one thing I do not miss. And if you got a neighbor who wakes up at 8 o'clock thumping music, you're gonna hear that. It's gonna affect you. If you got work the next morning, your neighbor, it's a Friday night, but you work Saturday morning, it's movie night, they over there blasting a movie, you're gonna hear that. It's gonna affect you. So when you have your own home, that's one of the first things that I've experienced, way more space. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the studio, music maxed out, loud, no one can hear it when you go outside. You know what I mean? Because there's no one that close. So I love this space, way more space, because you have your neighbors in an apartment next to you on each side and above you and below you. Say you got 2 neighbors on the sides, they bumping music. You got somebody on top who got 5 kids, they stumping on the floor. And then your neighbor coming upstairs because they complain about you stump, like that, nah, I don't miss that at all. Not a little bit, not a tiny bit, not a micro bit, nope. So that plays the issue, a big issue to me. When it comes to renting versus owning a home, the space factor. To me, the home wins hands down when it comes to that area. All right, so another thing that really stuck out since I've been in the home, the modifications that you can make are limitless. Like, I didn't even realize that until I moved into a home, because I never even thought about painting walls in an apartment. Or you've seen the transformation of this room, black lights and just everything. And that's just inside the house. You can change the floors, you can change the countertops. I want to get these, what are those things called? Not pendants, they're little things that hang down over the island. I'm gonna get that. You can't get that in an apartment, you know what I mean? Like, you can't like add and drill into the frame. It's just so much more, way more modifications that you can do in a home compared to living into an apartment. Definitely the house wins on that, and that was a big thing to me, being able to modify, and that's just inside the home. We're not even talking about the backyard. You know, you can add a pool, add a jacuzzi, like whatever you want to do, a gazebo. That's something I'm gonna get, a gazebo. You ain't gonna put no gazebo in an apartment, bro? Like, where you gonna put that at the park, in the apartment park? You gonna put a gazebo out there? Like, nah, you know what I mean? So they got a gazebo off there already, you know what I mean? So that may be a plus. You don't have to put a gazebo up because there's one in the apartment already. But your bathroom, you could remodel it. So much you can do. Another huge thing where I think the house wins hands down, utilizing your home, right? So with the mortgage, people may see the price and just equate that to your just living there. Like, okay, home price, home. I see it as utilizing that space. Like, so I'm not just paying for a home, I'm paying for an office, I'm paying for a recording studio, paying for a production studio, paying for storage, paying for a garage, paying for an entertainment system or a small theater. You know what I mean? Like, you're paying for your own social space. Like, I've had for the home warming, it was 30 people in the living room, with 30 or 20, 25 people or something like that in the living room with a gang of space left. Like, you're not doing that in no apartment. You know, 25 grown folks, grown people, that's not gonna go down. Like, and was comfortable too. Like, everybody had space, like, and that was inside the living room. So utilizing the space, I feel I'm saving money, because these are all different things I wanted to do. Music and boom, 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 a brand. Instead of paying for an office, paying for an office for this, paying for an office for that, I utilize it all in the home. So I think the home wins, because living in an apartment, I couldn't even do the studio because of the reason of being right next door to a neighbor. It would just be way too much noise. Like, even when I would just write, that would be too much noise. You can only do it during certain times because you don't want to wake people up, yada, yada, yada. There's too many restrictions that I didn't like living in an apartment. No restrictions in a home, kind of. I mean, of course there's restrictions, but it's way less restrictions. I can't even think of none off the top of the head. I mean, don't buy a zebra and leave it in the front yard, but you can actually, like, no, I don't know, but I'm not gonna be the one to find out. I don't think maybe a zebra, but maybe you can in the backyard. I don't know, bro. But the space utilization is way greater for a home than an apartment, in my opinion. I think that's one of the biggest things right there, especially with the pandemic, where things can close down, things can, and we've seen that at any moment, the government can just say, no, everything's shut down. That can, okay, so if you have an office, let's say if you're a hairdresser and you have an office here, boom, 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 you can't make any finances. If you have a home, you can easily go ahead and set up in your garage. Depending on the size of your house, you can set up in your garage. You can have that extra room just for that. Or if you have rooms, you can have, It's limitless. So you're not just paying for a home, you're paying for whatever else that you want to do as well. Also, one of the things that's dope about living in a home compared to living in an apartment, you're building equity. Or depending, that all depends, but that could be a plus. You could be building equity in your home. I bought this house at not the start of the pandemic, but before the houses went crazy, and already like 70, 80, 90,000 equity in the home, which where you can refinance and use that money to whatever you wanted to. And that's gonna be a whole other video. I'm gonna show you the prices, how it went up like every week and it was crazy. But in an apartment, you don't have no equity. There ain't no equity going on. So I think that's another plus with the home. But okay, so on the opposite side, let's say if you were renting, I think it's way better if you're not planning to stay somewhere long term. If you're gonna be there for a few months, you're there for a year, 2 years, you know that's not where you wanna be, definitely you wanna rent. You can up and go, move quick, fast. If anything, worst case scenario, you might have to break a lease where you have to pay a little bit more money, but that's way better. Well, you can't just walk away from a loan. Like, they gonna hit you real quick, like, bruh, what's up with this loan, like, that you owe us, these hundreds of thousands of dollars that you owe, did you forget? Like, nah, that's not going down, you're not gonna get away with that. So, apartment would definitely win on flexibility. If you need to go, and you're able to. I'll give the apartment the upper hand on that when it comes to flexibility. All right, so another thing about living in an apartment that I thought was pretty dope, and I noticed quick being here, I said it on the positive side with the home when you have the security. Well, that's one of the extra expenses, adding security to your home. When you're in an apartment, you don't really need security. That's one thing I kind of did like about living in an apartment. Your neighbors were that close, but they were that close. So if anything would happen, somebody's gonna hear something, somebody could say something, like somebody's gonna know, you know what I mean? But in a home, something could happen and nobody can know anything because they didn't hear nothing, they didn't see, they're not in your area as if you were in the apartment. So I think that's pretty cool. I would guess to say like the security that being in an apartment gives. So just a summary on my personal opinion, which one do I choose, renting a home or renting an apartment? Hands down, owning a home. Hands down. I know my hand is up right now, but it's to me, there's no comparison. Am I paying more money? Yes, but there's no price that you can put on having your own space to do whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. And no one's gonna raise the rent. No one's gonna come here and say, hey, I'm selling the home, or we're selling the apartments, the rent has to go up this much, X amount. Nah, it's not going down. No, hands down, from all the years that I've been renting compared to the 2 months I've been owning a home, that 2 months tramples everything on living in an apartment in every way, shape, or form. There's no comparison to me. But that's my personal. Also, I think one of the major components on whether renting versus owning is if you're able to afford it. If you're not able to afford it yet, I encourage you, strive for it. Do not be discouraged. If you're in an apartment and you want to be a homeowner, don't be discouraged. What you have to do is take action, set a plan, write down a plan, set goals, 2-year time frame, where you want to go, where you want to be, but set the plans. There's no need in being discouraged, no need in being down. What is that going to do for anybody except you're just going to hurt yourself being down. Be proactive, set a plan, set a goal. It can be done. That's what you have to know. That's the main thing. If anything, it can be done. I've been there where I felt like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm here now. You know what I mean? Like, I've dreamed, envisioned of having my own office and this and that years ago. Didn't know how it was gonna be possible. I just knew it could be done, because I've seen other people do it. And I'm here today in my brand new home, in my brand new office, you know what I mean? Like, brand new, it can be done. Don't worry about the negatives. Put all the negatives out, all the negative voices. Know it can be done, and just write a plan. and executing that plan. But this is SB. Be sure to follow, or not follow, be sure to subscribe, all that other good stuff. All right.